Today is the 30th episode, which was my original aim. So we reached. How you doing, Cal? Good to see you here, driving but listening. That's commitment, man. Grandpa Carlos. It's a great handle. So the original aim was to do 30 days straight. I had to go to a Vipassana retreat in the middle. So we paused for 10 days, but we reached 30. I guess we're going to remark the 52nd one, which is going to be 30 straight. But here we are. Today is number 30. And we're actually going at the same time as apparently this big conversation between Elon and Trump, which does feel like it's some kind of a turning point in our current events. What's up, Callie? DMG, Michael Hassett. Hello, all the newcomers, and to all the regulars. This chat revolves around the simulation hypothesis. My name is Danny, and I'm claiming to have found proof that we live in the simulation. We meet here daily to discuss big topics like physics, philosophy, religion, spirituality. The other day we were discussing Elon, and like I said, we're doing this while Elon is having some kind of a big conversation with Trump. But I hope that your day is great and the life gives you nothing but positivity. I appreciate you, FBP. It's kind of awesome. It seems like as a balance to all the comment farms that are saying all kinds of negative things, you also have wonderful people that just show up and give you good vibes, which is incredible. What happens when I say hi to everyone? Pay it forward, right? George's Baby Goats. Now that's a great handle. Do you have baby goats? Because it would be wonderful to see them. It's a very happy handle. I like it. Hello, everyone. So once again, this channel is usually revolving around the simulation hypothesis, but we discuss all kinds of topics: spirituality, religion, science, philosophy, and all kinds of other fun things. We have some regulars and some new people. What do you guys feel about this whole big discussion going on right now with Elon and Trump? I'm pretty sure that there's no more too divisive people in the country, and they're having a conversation. I wonder how that's going to go. Chris Diziel, Susan. What's up to Artron Max? What's your take on the whole conversation between Elon and Trump right now? Where do you stand in that regard? I'm different. In what way am I different? Oh yeah, no, we just started. Oh, interesting. I don't know. I do change from day to day. Good, different, bad, different, or the same? He's playing the Trump card. What's up, Lisa? Good to see you on the live on YouTube. I hope you're feeling all right. So yeah, we have quite a bit of things coming up, and today is like I said, is the 30th chat. Lisa is asking, can I feel it? We have some big events coming up today. Today, I don't know if anybody else feels it, but it's a big transitional stage. You want to give us some details, Lisa, so I can share with the crowd? So yeah, the way that I feel. And what does that mean? So Lisa is saying Lionsgate is closing. You want to share with the crowd what does that mean for everybody? Lisa is saying the earth is splitting. So do you want to share with the crowd what they can do to be on one side of the earth versus another? What'd you say? That's why there was an earthquake today in California. Lisa is saying, guess who you are talking to? Well, why do I have to guess? How about you tell me? What's up, Matt Killing It? Sarah, Isabel. Lisa is saying it's holographic energy. What's up, Gaston? Appreciate you guys. Well, I think we got everybody. I don't know if you guys have been experiencing it, but in the last 2 years, there were a lot of monumental events. And I've definitely experienced it in my personal life, and I've noticed it collectively. To your question, Gaston, usually this channel is resolved with the simulation hypothesis. I'm claiming to have found proof that we live in a simulation, and we meet here on the daily, and we discuss big topics like religion, spirituality, philosophy, science, and whatnot. And today's our 30th live chat. And Lisa is sharing all kinds of wisdom on YouTube. You guys can't see it. There's only one other person there. Well, that's my claim. You can watch my videos to see the actual methodology by which that happened. But we're now 2 years into, actually almost 3 years into the process of talking about this publicly. Been involved with some scientists in the field. It's going on right now, the Elon Trump thing, right? Yeah, you should go check it out and then come back to the chat. What's up, Tiger Lily? I've actually known a Tiger Lily. I wonder if it's the same Tiger Lily. There's a meteor shower today, Eric Doggin? We are young, fire brighter than the sun. Let's see. Night will complete it. That is your connection. Oh, Matt Killing It, you haven't watched it yet? Well, are you talking about the Trump Elon thing? Are you talking about the videos? Percent, I think, probably spelled it wrong. Persead, month of August is rich in showers. Oh, I didn't know that. I have a good friend who's actually an astrophotographer. He's probably all over it. Mac Murdoch. He does great work. You can go check out his page, especially on Instagram. He actually took a shot of the sun that NASA posted at some point. When is the next meteor shower? You mean tonight? Yeah, Mac Murdoch. Check him out. He's pretty incredible. So, what do you guys think about this whole Elon Trump conversation? How many Trumpers do we have here? How many anti-Trumpers do we have here? A couple last night. I plan to stay up late tonight. Wait, remind me, Matt Killing It. You're in Arizona, right? Elon trying to save Trump? You mean save his election? Is what you mean? So, what's your opinion on this? Where do we stand? I feel like we're kind of stuck between two terrible options. That's what it feels like to me, honestly. Yeah, I agree. However, Kamala, I don't know how to pronounce her name, doesn't feel much better. Sierras, cool. I mean, Trump always wants to prove himself. It's kind of like part of his character. And Lisa is telling us that today we have some kind of a monumental event. You want to tell us when it's fully closing, Lisa? Is that at midnight today? We've been able to do anything with your proof on the simulation. Kamala. Thank you, Zave. I mean, you can say that. I mean, I got enough attention to talk to some of the leading scientists in the field. Spoke to a few physicists. Got a couple of them interested in what I'm doing, and started encountering all kinds of very interesting events and people. That definitely made it clear that something is going on, and world events definitely help to understand that something big is happening. And actually, this is exactly what Lisa is telling us, that today is some kind of a big transformational point. And as to doing something specific with, aside from finding the code, at the moment, not yet, but we do have a few experiments lined up that I do believe will deliver the next breakthrough. It's difficult to be both pro-human and pro either of these candidates. I see what you're saying. We might see a daytime star soon, I think. I like where your mind's at, Eric Doggin. I wish that all we would care about is watching meteor showers. I'm all with you. Better with him than more than with opposition. She has accomplished nothing in office. She failed in her only task. Yeah, so just so you guys know, specifics about politics rarely interest me because I think that ultimately the script kind of writes itself. And I think that the way we treat each other in the process is actually the main thing. In fact, it's obvious to me that if we could figure out a way to just have a better discourse in general, anybody in control would not really have a lot of power over the people. It's pretty clear to me. This is why watching what we have and understanding that it's either a reflection of the way that the system is built at the moment or what people want, which is honestly a little depressing if this is the two things that people think is the best options. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's just that that's the system the system needs to change, and that's what we're seeing now. We'll see how it unfolds. I don't have any predictions in that regard. I don't really involve myself with all this political stuff. What about the one in 2037? You're talking about the singularity, Gaston? They have to install more trust in voting system. Tyson spoke about it. Tyson what? Mike Tyson? Are you talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson? I think you're talking about 2037. I think it was Kurzweil's prediction. To anybody who doesn't know, Ray Kurzweil, who's an inventor and a futurist, he basically predicted that by 2037 we're going to experience something called the singularity, which essentially denotes the date in which we're both going to understand computation on a level that can be fully integrated with the brain and map the human brain fully, and therefore we will reach a state of rate of change that is impossible to predict anything beyond that point. I think that the singularity is already here, and we're experiencing it as we speak. In fact, I believe that by next year the world is going to be unrecognizable. And I'm not talking just about the political system. I'm talking the world itself. I trust the voting system, but people don't trust it are lost. The candidates for president are two heads and the same hydra in some ways. Well, Matt, killing it. It's an interesting thing you're saying because that's what it's supposed to be. I don't know if I would call it hydra. It's the people who are competing to be the president. They're only supposed to be opposed in their ideas, not ideologies. So the two main people represent the left and the right in any particular moment in at least a democratic government are supposed to be two heads of the same thing. That's the point of it. that the government is supposed to be balanced by the left and the right. It's not supposed to be a competition between the left and the right. The left and the right are just the two forces pushing against in different directions for different issues. But a healthy government would have a balanced left and right that are talking to each other and coming to resolutions and understandings. So that is what it's supposed to be. Offense and defense on the same team. How do you think the world will change through the next year? Not sure, but it's clear to me that it will. I think in the beginning, it wasn't clear to me if it's going to be through concrete things like, an arising of AGI, the full integration of the human mind with computers, arriving of aliens, or all of the above. But now it's pretty clear to me that it's closer to all of the above. Whatever version of full transformation that makes sense to you is what I believe you will experience. I think we're going to have a revolution against corporate greed. Yeah. What's up, Ellie? Eric Doggin. Yeah, I think what's required is rewriting the code, not a revolution. Revolution implies big upheaval, big forces pushing against other big forces. We've tried this for the entire human history. It never worked. It always just goes up and down and up and down and up and down. Something completely different needs to happen if we are to enter a new and universal scale. If we are to go and explore the universe, we have to get a few things straight. One of them is how we talk to each other. The other one is how we vote people into power and what we consider to be valuable as goals, as humanity. And one of these things, which is very tricky, is to both restructuring the power system in a way that aims towards the greater good and doesn't just take the next quarter into account, while at the same time maintaining trust in the institutions while they're changing. So you can't actually do anything without institutions. Institutions are simply reflections of human cooperation on a massive scale. But at the same time, power corrupts. So you have a structure in which people that are closest to the power always take advantage of it. So the idea is, how do you inject new kinds of attitudes and minds into these large structures without disseminating the structures? Because you still need large organizations to do certain things, like build, big things, make big plans. But at the same time, how do you change the types of people who occupy these positions? What's up, Aaron? How you doing, brother? Good to see you here. Let's see. Electoral votes should be worth a little less. Show Kansas. Yeah, I don't see the. Maybe you're even right, but I think that the thinking has to be on a much larger scale than that, than just electoral vote. And then whatever ideas we have of the massive scale will eventually cascade and trickle down and actually change also the regulations and laws around it. Certainly the system needs fixing, but starting over is not a great idea. It would be a move back. Well, I don't think starting over is an option. That's not how things work. What I was saying about your eyes, it looks like exhaustion mixed with being overwhelmed. It's very perceptive. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes life kind of hits you on all cylinders, and you have to absorb what is going on, and then you have to be with it. But that's very perceptive to Electron Max, but also pushes major changes in some direction. I hope it's a positive thing. I appreciate your concern. Did you get into some research last night? No, actually, no. But I look tired. Yeah, it's very possible. Step back for the society only. Yeah, that is. Maybe I am a little tired. It's interesting you've noticed that. It also means you're paying attention, and also means that you get to know me a little bit. Know that if you do something wrong, know that. Wait, know that you push forward. Pray you recharged and renewed. Jesus. Thank you, Torrent from Max. I appreciate you. Um, yeah. Wait, what did I say? If you do not wait, if you do something wrong, not that you push forward. Not sure what you mean by that, Gaston. I think being aware of a lot of things can sometimes be exhausting. So you think it's possible to catch the code on any kind of recording system? Eventually, I do believe so. If we manage to, oh god, oh god. If we manage to understand what continuum it's on, because right now the only thing we know is that somehow um, because we don't really understand what continuum it's on. The second we'll start to understand what continuum it's on, we'll be able to build some devices that will help us with that. High speed cam might be possible, but I would assume that people would notice something by now, you know? What's up, Mandalov's Cakes? We live in a continuum. No past, no future. Sure. When is your next live? Torrentron Max, by the way. Because I think you told me to come last time, but I don't know where your next live is. Oh, I agree with that, Gaston. There's only the present moment, always. A very cool experience today with an energy healer. Tell us about it. Just got off. Been on for 8 hours. 8 hours of a live. Jesus Christ. Pun unintended. You go on every day for 8 hours, or not every day? When do you usually go on? Do you have a regular time? We have not met, but we were able to connect and see things about one another in our mind's eye. Interesting. What did you specifically notice? About what you've noticed? When you show other people, do you think they get biased because they know what to look for? No, it doesn't have that quality. 9 a.m. till midnight and sometimes later. Wait, how's that possible? I mean, you jump on here. You only jump on here after you're done over there? So you literally spend the whole day there? You ever had someone that had no idea what they were looking for and still seen it? Oh, definitely. Yeah, it doesn't have the quality of something that you can be cajoled to see. It has the quality of a regular object, like a real thing. So not only I had people that don't know what to look for and saw it, I had people who thought they were looking for something else and still saw what is actually there. I work and watch the kids while I'm live. I used to multi. How many kids you got? Oh yeah, no, definitely. There's no question that Sub Forest. Think, think about what, and yeah, definitely the whole point of the code and the reason that it's really interesting is because it has this property that it just looks very real. It behaves like a real thing. You can actually see it, no problem. And it doesn't care about what you do or what you think or anything else really. You just see it. The thought is learned. I've not seen code, but I have seen neon green grids. Oh wait, you tried the laser? We got three, but we're also raising the grandkids now, full time. 5 and 2. Yeah. So, damn. Wow, that's impressive. So you're a grandpa already? That's incredible. It is not inherently owned. Wait, what is not inherently owned? The thoughts? What do you think about the possibility of us being harvested for our energetic output? I doubt it will be for energetic output. If anything, you would be harvested for your computational power. But who knows, man? Yeah, the youngest grandpa ever. I'm 36. That is crazy. You started, how old were you when you started having kids? Uh, Gaston, to what effect are you saying all of this? Yeah, because your brain is a computational power. So energy, you can almost produce infinite energy if you're advanced enough. It's not that difficult, actually. Computational power is a different story because computational power is limited to space and time. And if you have limited space and time, then you're going to be limited with how much computation you can get in total. My wife is 10 years older. She was born in 77. I was born in 88. Two very even numbers. That's 11 years, but still very impressive. So 77, 88, 11, 11. Oh, I mean 11. That is kind of cool. Where are you from in the country? Just out of curiosity. Not that it really matters. Many five do. You've thought about this, of course you have. uh, well, I mean, the movie The Matrix would make much more sense if they would present the idea that they're harvesting our computational power, not energy. But back then, not a lot of people knew about computation, so I think it would be kind of difficult to communicate to people what that would mean. It would be too confusing. New York, not in the city though. Oh, cool. Upstate New York, like closer to Albany or something. El Templo. That's right, The Matrix. That is a lot like what I was thinking. I don't get on TikTok for money or fame. I get on to share life changing info and research. Incredible. I think that's the right reason to do it. Actually, funny enough, I just discovered the other day. Some of you or all of you are gonna laugh, but I just discovered that they have the STEM option on TikTok, and I was not aware of it, and I thought it was new, and I was like, "Oh my god, they added STEM!" And then Kelsey told me like they always had it. I was like, "What?" Then why were everybody complaining about the fact that in China it's all about educational and here it's not? We have options here. The fact that nobody chooses STEM, that's a different problem. What would be that's wait? What would be that's individual thoughts? Gaston, I think I'm a little confused by what you were saying. You want to give us the thought from the beginning? Like what do you mean by all of this? So I missed the answer. Question: does the laser research have anything to do with the hallucinogens? Yeah, you have to be at the moment, at least, as far as we know, you have to be on a particular molecule that I cannot name on the live chat in order to see the code on the laser. Yes. The specifics of what the molecule does in the brain reveals some things, but not all things about the nature of what is actually going on. Did you know that all illness is actually sites? Get rid of that bug. and be healed. What is sites? Sorry, I'm not familiar with the words. With the word. You mean parasites? Why do you ask, Forrest? You should check out my videos that I put out on the subject. They're pinned to the top on TikTok and also on YouTube. You can go to Dango Thoughts. That's my main channel there. I just want to let you know Jesus Christ loves you. Oh no, you're in good company. Toretron Max is here as well. Even infertility and addiction. Have you tried asking one who can do deep meditation to view the laser? I had two different people, both women, that told me that they can see the code without the molecule. To the extent that I can trust what they're saying, I have at least two individuals who told me they can see it without. I'm not sure that they see it as clearly as you can see it with the molecule, but I have no reason to doubt that that's true. So, also the fact that the molecule is simply moving switches in the brain, nothing can make your brain do something that it cannot do by itself. So obviously there must, if by a molecule, if by changing your brain chemistry you can see something, you can also technically see it without. You just have to figure out how. You have to induce the state in the brain in some form, but it's all the brain. No substance ever makes the brain do something it cannot do itself. Is the molecule the one produced naturally? Yes. Everyone has a parasite, but sometimes they thrive and get out of control in an unhealthy body. That is true. All diseases, all illest, literally everything. Illest. I don't know what illest means. Sorry, I guess I'm not familiar with the word. Not true what? About what I said about the brain? Oh no, that's exactly how it works. What I said is not controversial. So the way the brain, any experience you're having on any substance is essentially just a particular changes of the switches in the brain. What we're talking about specifically with psychedelics, and it basically induces a state of informational patterns that the brain is capable of, but usually doesn't do because of what is available. But there are multiple ways to make the brain do something, and all you have to do in order to recreate that, you just have to figure out what switches were moved and in what order, and you will recreate the state. This is why any substance can be the function of any substance can be mimicked with something like Neuralink when it's advanced enough. All you have to figure out is exactly what happens, and then you have to recreate that pattern, and you will have the same experience. With SO1, then help them combat them and eliminate the problem for life. Chat going off today. You're so polite, Danny. Thank you, Mandelov's cake. Today I'm a little slow and my energy is a little low, so Tortron Max nailed it there. You mean going off in a good way or going off like going off the rails? I'm not sure. I was gone for a second. Did I miss anything cool? Oh yeah, somebody learned how to fly, but they flew away. No, I'm kidding. I don't know if you missed anything big. Have you had any sleep paralysis? I've had it once, not accompanied by the not like night terrors, but I could totally see how it can devolve into that. I mean, I'm sure you're aware of this, but just for the record, sleep paralysis is just a natural state. When you go into REM sleep, your body shuts down, so you don't hurt yourself from the content when you move during seeing the content, and you just happen to wake up in the middle of it before the body had the chance to pump the chemical that paralyzes it out of the system. So you're basically awake but paralyzed. I can totally see how from that state you can start getting very scary visions because you're paralyzed. In that state, you are without self guard till the brain finds the way to reason. Oh, fast? You mean? You mean like a lot of comments? Have you ever experienced dream communication? You mean somebody communicated to me in a dream? None that I know of. Maybe they did, and I just didn't know that that was communication. Have you had that? Have you had any astral out of body experience in your sleep? I don't know if I always have a body in the sleep. It's kind of hard to say. But if you mean astral projection, from what people describe online, no. I'm fascinated by it, but I've never had that happen to me. You want to tell us about it, Manzel Loves Cakes? Who communicated to you, and how did you find out that there was an actual communication? Aaron is back. Aaron's in the house. XX420 YOLO Swag 69XX. There's a great handle. I wake up before my body a lot. I didn't know it did happen to everyone for a long time. I wake up before my body a lot. Oh, that happens to you? Is it accompanied by night terrors? What's the estimate date for the release of the documentary? That's a question for Aaron, but I believe if everything goes according to plan, probably 6-7 months is a safe bet. I don't know if something might happen, it might take longer, but that's the plan. We just kind of go with the flow and doing everything we can when it's available. Again, I trust the process and I trust Aaron's vision. He truly is a master in what he does. So the organic factor is very important, I believe. Childhood friend came to me and told me he was injured. And then you found out that he was injured or she was injured. I was borrowed in my sleep by another race to complete a mission. I think about that every day for 20 years. Borrowed in my sleep. I am not even creative enough to come up with all the things that happen in this dream. And did this dream, Eric Doggin, felt more real than like a regular dream? No night terror, just sleep paralysis. I just think about stuff till I can move. Wow. How long does it last since the second you wake up? Are there any legal restrictions in communicating the documentary content? I'm sure there are. That's why we have a lawyer that tells us, what's okay and what's not okay. And eventually she's going to have to sign off on the final version of the film, just because it is, you nailed it. That's a contentious topic because of the classification of the substance. Even though we're not putting it front and center, the documentary is not about the molecule. In fact, one of the things I'm trying to deliver both in my work and in the documentary, in anything I'm saying in the documentary, is that this is not about the molecule or even about anything psychedelic, which talking about understanding reality. And it's kind of hard to differentiate them because people associate the molecule with a particular type of community, different types of people. And I think it's just a tool, which is kind of like a re-education that you have to put people through in the movie. Probably need help, we hope, with our info on how to detox, get rid of toxins and even nutrients. I appreciate it, Tortron Max. I'm actually, my system is pretty clean. I've been slowly getting rid of basically any kind of helpers throughout my years, and the moment it's mostly natural. I mean, caffeine here and there, some L-carnitine to get the system going, but nothing more than things like that. The more you fight sleep paralysis, the more hold it has on you. Just relax, and you can get out. I feel like it's a good advice in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is like sleep paralysis induced by another person. Our product breaks down nutrients so you can absorb them up to 90% instead of 20-30%. Got it. Do you know what sleep deprivation causes to your brain? A lot of bad things. That's the same for plants, make them grow. For them bigger naturally, you think you clean until we show you. I can come up if you want. Yeah, I think I already sent you an invite once. I don't know if it. Yeah, I think you have to send a request. There you go. Hold on. Here we go. What's up, Toronto Max?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Now you sound bad. Why do you sound bad now?
Sound bad? What does that mean?
Oh, there you go. It's like it's the mic maybe. I don't know, or maybe it's glitching. It looks weird.
Okay. Well, does it sound okay now?
Yeah, it's getting better as we go. All right, so let's just for a quick rundown.
Sure.
Do you use any tap water whatsoever? Do you take a shower in tap water? Do you take a bath in tap water? Do you wash your hands in tap water? Do you clean with tap water? Do you
So
cook
let me
with
let
tap
me let
water?
me let me let me stop you right there. Hold on. So because this is actually a conversation, I want to make sure that we have a dialogue, not like a one-sided lecture. So if because you didn't need to repeat all these things, so you can say that you believe that tap water has a lot of toxins in it, and this is bad for us. So obviously everybody uses it. So it's a derogatory question, right?
If you don't know, yeah.
Sure, but
Let
but
me
but but
just give
that but
you a
that's
quick
but that
rundown
sums
of
it. My
what's in
point
there
my
if you
point to
want to
you is
know.
that
You
it's
want to
that
know?
the communication is needs to be both directional. And the way you started this just right now, it sounds like you just want to lecture us about the water and all the toxins. We're aware that it's probably a lot of things around us in the environment are bad for us. You can tell us about it specifically, but you know you can say, hey, the water is already something that you're using.
I'm just trying to save time, brother. I'm just
It's
trying to
it sound
save
it,
time.
it sounds
I
like you're
gotta.
doing
You
it's
think
brother.
I'm trying to
I
do
with all due
something?
respect, it sounds like you're doing the opposite.
Okay. Well, I'll wait, and if you want to say something, so I can have you say some stuff before I say anything.
No, that was my only comment because you went on a diatribe right from the beginning about all the stuff that I might be using with water, and that sounds no offense, but it sounds like a disingenuous selling pitch. Now I'm not gonna. I don't think that
No,
you're actually trying to
it's
do that, but that's what
not
it
that.
sounds like. Yeah.
No, you'll see, man.
Okay.
So, if you were to look up in your area what's in the water, it'll tell you. That's where you should probably start, right? If you really wanted to know, you should go and get the list. It's over 5,000 different contaminants, including NaNO tech. Do you know what that is?
No, tell me.
They're made in a laboratory. They're genetically modified organisms, and they're some of the nastiest things, man. And they really hurt really bad, especially when you feed them toxins and radiation and heavy metals like the water and the recycled water and the wastewater. They love wastewater, okay? They love rust, they love corrosion, they love all the nasty stuff. And that's what's feeding all this stuff in the tap, in the recycled water. Now, 4 years ago, pathogens weren't eating toxins, but since they created them in a lab to eat toxins now, like CO2, that's what Bill Gates made organisms that eat CO2. Remember?
Okay.
Now, they did that with all toxins, not just CO2. They made organisms that eat all those things. And if they eat all those things, then they're getting stronger by the second.
You mean the organisms?
Yes. They're getting stronger, which means they're getting more vicious because they take your life. They don't help you.
What's up, Patricia? Wait, how
They
did you?
eat your
But how did you jump to
they
that?
eat your everything.
What? But how did you jump to this part? So I was following you, but how did you jump that they're taking life from you? Because when they get into you, they try to feed off your microbiome.
Yes, off everything. They eat everything, and everything is rotting. You're rotting. You don't realize it, but your cells are rotting, and they're eating that rot every second. You would think it would be helpful, right? But they eat you also. They don't just eat the rot.
I do have the feeling that I'm being eaten from the inside sometimes. So what do you suggest? What is your solution?
What?
What is your solution to all this?
Well, there's a multi-pronged attack with this stuff that you would want to do, but if you were to just start very simply, you would only use clean potable water that's not recycled water. That's not wastewater, that's not filled with all the bad stuff.
Like reverse
And to do
osmosis, things like
that,
that.
you would have to get a good filtration system.
Yeah.
Huh?
Like reverse osmosis, things like that.
You'd start with a good filtration system, like reverse osmosis is good, but charcoal is better because it absorbs the toxins instead of just filtering bigger stuff out. Because you want to go all the way down to the very small scales, like the NaNO scale and the pico scale, and smaller than that. And no filters usually filter that out. Never.
Okay.
So charcoal, though, If you get a Berkey filter that's
Uh-huh.
made out of charcoal, it will filter all those things because charcoal captures that stuff. So if you start with that stuff and get rid of all that stuff and stop engaging with the tap at all costs, you will be a million times healthier as time goes on. You'll be healing finally for once instead of letting this stuff eat you from the inside out and
Got
from
it.
the outside in.
Cool. Thank you for letting me know. Are you selling this system with the charcoal?
No, Berkey actually got taken down because they were unaliving toxins. They got a lawsuit for unaliving too many toxins. So Berkey is no longer even around. They got taken out with that lawsuit. But no, I don't sell charcoal. I don't sell the filtration systems. And to be honest with you, I give away more cleaner than I sell. So I pretty much have a charity with this stuff.
Got it. Okay. So how do people get to what you do, what you're doing, and the people who can't afford it, how do they get the charity?
They just come to the site and message me on Telegram for right now. You can message me on the site and you can message me on Telegram. My information is all on the page. If people have no money and they just want to learn, we teach them every day on the channel. They can take notes and do their own research, and that'll help a lot. We give cleaner away. If you guys don't have any money to buy cleaner, there's people that donate every month, and we give you guys gallons and gallons of natural cleaner for once instead of you using all the toxins. Now, remember when I said that toxins feed them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that means all the toxic products, like the cleaner, is like throwing napalm on them. Nobody knows this until they test themselves and find out they're really bad. So in the last 4 years, these things have been feeding the P sites. The toxins have been feeding the P sites.
Okay.
So if you guys are using any toxic products whatsoever, it's like throwing napalm on it.
Okay. So, well, okay. So first of all, it sounds super positive. I appreciate you sharing all of that, and everybody can obviously see your page. And if somebody is actually interested, they can definitely go to your page and check it out. It does sound incredible that you're actually doing all this great work. Yeah, it sounds actually incredible that you're doing all this great work, and especially because you're saying you're also helping people who can't afford it. That you definitely got definitely got my vote there. What any other particular advice that doesn't require a 30-minute breakdown that we can know about aside from the charcoal?
A lot of this stuff is actually a really long, deep research. Not a lot of it is in a short wind I can give you. But what I can tell you, if you get rid of the tap water, you start using clean products, you can also clean the products, and we do that with the NS solution. 2 drops, and it emulsifies all the chemicals, all the heavy metals, and all the P sites in every product across the board. So if you guys have been using toxic products your entire life, you guys have been breathing toxic air your entire life, toxic water your entire life, you don't know what it's like to have a pure steak. You don't know what it's like to take a nice, clean, fresh breath of air. For the first time, you'll be able to, because you can clean the air with the cleaner. Spray it 3 times a day, and now you can breathe.
Amazing. Okay. Are there any countries in which that doesn't have that problem? Like, what if you go to Costa Rica? What if you move to Costa Rica?
No, it's everywhere, man.
Everywhere.
I mean, some are better, like Japan and China. They at least they ban the really toxic products, but they still don't educate people on what I'm talking about.
Got it.
So nobody's really gotten a full hand on it yet. We're just starting to really understand it all.
Okay. Well, I don't disagree at all that there's a lot of things, probably including the ones that you mentioned, that we have to start remedying. And I'm glad that there's at least some partial solutions, and you told us about some. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me up.
Absolutely, and I'll definitely come when you're live. I didn't know that you're doing it most of the day, so next time I'm gonna see if I have a little bit of time before, and I'll jump on, and we can have exchange a few words.
That would mean a lot, man. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you for being a part of this.
Man, I didn't expect us to have a good relationship, man. I expected us to go back and forth a long time, but then we kind of took a liking to each other a bit. I appreciate that. Awesome.
I appreciate you too, man. I enjoy anybody who's truly speaking from the heart, even if we might disagree about potential things. It doesn't matter as long as we have an open discussion. That's all that matters.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Bye. Awesome. Amazing. Okay, amazing. Thank you, Tronex, for coming on. I appreciate that, and I'll definitely come on your live. Yeah, so some of you commented about selling products and all that stuff. To be honest, Tronex actually sounds pretty coming from a good place to me. And wait, I hope I didn't throw you. Tronex, you're still here, right? I didn't throw you off the chat, did I? I hope I didn't. That was not my intention at all. It was just to end the call. Send a word if you're still here. Definitely did not mean to take you. Oh, here you are. Okay, amazing. Yeah, no, it sounds like you're coming from a really good place, because I am aware that there's some research about some even plastic particles in our water. And even though my contention is that there are a lot of people that are actually taking advantage of the fact that this industry is in place. I mean, the green industry. I don't know how many people I'm going to piss off here, but to me, it was clear from the beginning that Greta is basically like a demon in disguise, and I'm not exaggerating. Like, she's basically a pawn. And I'm not even a conspiracy theorist, but she's clearly a pawn, right? They put a child to yell at people, so they feel bad, but somebody's behind this, and basically everything you saw. It's not that she in particular is the problem; is that wherever she came from is the problem, definitely. So the reason I'm saying it is there's definitely people who also take advantage of the fact that we're trying to clean up our act and the planet. But I do appreciate people like you, Tuatron Max, because I can hear your voice, I can see your conversation style, and you're coming from a real place, and I always appreciate that. Isn't going out of business though. They sued the EPA. It seemed cool. I just hear that as a pitch by con artist. Yeah, no. So that's my point, Matt Killing it. That these kind of things, you hear them a lot, and unfortunately, people who are trying to take advantage, they do sound like snake oil salesmen. But Tuatron Max doesn't come across as that to me at all. And I appreciate you appreciating the interaction, Tuatron Max. It's very mutual. I think that ultimately the only way forward in any way is to, especially the people you disagree with about anything, is to actually listen and pay attention to where they're coming from. And sometimes you will discover that the person is coming from, they are not a positive player in the world, and that's fine. But at least you found out the real way, and you didn't have to guess or overlay all kinds of things that weren't there. And I think that's very important. We might have an interesting discussion later on, you and I, Tuatron Max, either on your live or on some other day on my live, about the whole religious thing. It will be, now that I know that religious aspect of the world, because even though, like I told you the other day, I do experience some validity that has to do with, I guess, what you would call Jesus Christ, but I'm also seeing that there's a larger picture involved, and it will be fun to talk about it at some point. Yeah, I would say don't judge, just come and see. And especially, again, if you actually can't afford it and they do have a way to help you out still, I mean, what else can you ask for, right? It is true that a lot of the water is not, I mean, from what I understand, and it's not a lot, I will admit, there are places in the world in which the water is definitely drinkable, because sometimes, for example, it will come from aquifers, but that is rare. It's not like that everywhere. And I know for a fact that we definitely did some considerable damage to the ecosystem, and we definitely have to remedy that. So all of that is operating at the same time. It's kind of hard to make sense of it, because sometimes you're dealing with crazy conspiracy theories, and sometimes you're dealing with something real, and it's kind of hard to know. And especially because some people actually give a particular flavor of thought a bad rap, it's very easy to start basically negating all of it. And on the other hand, it's understandable, because it's very difficult to all of a sudden make sense of who's an honest interlocutor or an honest player, who's not. It makes our job as people who are trying to make sense of information very difficult. Can you ask where water comes from? Well, I think he sees the comment, right? Asking where water comes from. You talking about in general where water comes from? Let's see. Why did you say you feel bad, Mandela's cakes? No, this is a the parents sat on furniture made with armadillo. You mean like you're actually asking the question? Sorry, I didn't know if you were joking or not. Like the actual water, the chemical compounds of everything on Earth that is more complex chemistry all comes from centers of stars originally. So everything that you have on Earth that is complex chemistry comes from the guts of a star that exploded. That's how everything happens in the universe. So essentially, you have simpler elements are being cooked to the core of stars, and then they're basically being fused to heavier elements. And then right before a star dies and becomes a supernova, it basically fuses the heaviest elements that it possibly can according to its size. For example, gold can only be created when the star is over a certain size. And then eventually there's nothing else to burn. Usually it happens with the iron, but then right before the star fully explodes or implodes before it explodes, that implosion actually creates even more enormous pressures. And in the last moments of a star's life, you have the heaviest elements possible created, and then it explodes. And then the guts of that star, when it explodes into the universe, eventually recollapses into gas clouds, which are these big nurseries of stars that you see. And then enough of the gas accumulates in these gas clouds, enough of like clumped gas, you can call it, and then it ignites. When there's enough pressure, it ignites and becomes a new star. And the remnants of it creates an accretion disk basically around it, which is all the planets that you see, because then they collect into their own elements. And then depending on the size of the star, the exact trajectory of these clumps, the size of each clump, when everything kind of comes into equilibrium, depending on the distance from the star, which means how hot it is or cold it is, depending on planets like Earth, for example, contain these chemistries, and that's where water comes from originally. I'm not sure that's what you meant, but now we have this rant that happened. um, yeah. Oh, the water we have here on Earth. Yeah, it's everything I just said. Um, what about 1050 hertz for parasites? Yeah, these things I don't know anything about. All of our best water gets sold to China. There's documentaries about it on YouTube. They tow it on boats with huge bags, miles long. What is the point? And I really am asking the question. Not in any. Hey, Lucid Doc, do you want to come live? It says it gives me the option. I looked into that. It isn't true. So Turtron Max, to your question, what is the logic of exporting all the good water? Why would you take all the good water and just export it? What's the point of that? Frequency is a huge. I got a friend that makes custom wands. Interesting. Again, I'll be honest. I don't know. I know nothing about this, the particulars of this, and it would be very difficult for me to make a distinction between what's crazy and what's true here. I can take a deep dive into it. Do you have any documentaries you recommend to Electron Max about the subject? A couple of Chinese oil companies used a bunch of water. Yeah, I know YouTube, but what is the name of the movie or something? How do you know? Oh wait, do you know how important good water is? Yeah, of course. I'm asking, how do you know? What is the logic of a country taking all the good water and just exporting it to another country, especially a country that at the moment we have some standoff with as far as power? A couple of Chinese oil companies used a bunch of water. Arizona, they weren't supposed to use in. Wait. Supposed to use in control. Okay. Well, you guys can hash this out. I know nothing about the subject, so I can't really say anything that way or another. Again, if you have a recommendation of the name of a documentary that talks about this, like you said, I'll definitely check it out and I'll tell you what I think. The North Aquifer here is 32% cyanide. Cyanide. They are also afraid of us getting better and becoming a threat. Look up the name. Yeah. Primary water from YouTube. Primary water comes from the mantle of Earth, OH hydroxide released from the mineral overline peridot when an influence acts upon it. Not sure exactly the influence. Earthquake, tolerate current, elf. That is true. That is already after the Earth was formed. I don't know if the question was originally about where H2O in general comes from, and that comes from stars. There's actually enormous clouds of water, like actual, just well, of all kinds of elements in the universe, but which, by the way, has lightning going through them. How cool is that? You have giant clouds in the middle of empty space that shoot lightning. If that's not cool, I don't know what is. And there's definitely also actual like regular clouds, just like on Earth. But thank you for sharing, MEF. I appreciate it. I'll look up the name, and I'm with Mendelev's cakes when she asks, "Who are they? Who is they?" Drinkable water existed on Earth with the beginning of our atmosphere. You can't have elements on Earth that did not originate in a star, because Earth does not create enough pressure to actually cook them, as far as I know. 2H1 Max cleaner is for water or for appliances. I love that there's debate about water. Use an Egyptian pillow to induce dream travel. Look it up, but be careful if you try it. Now that's a comment that only a really cool chat can have. Use an Egyptian pillow to induce dream travel. Look it up, but be careful if you try it. I mean, what is an Egyptian pillow? Now I want to know. It's for absolutely everything. The atmosphere was created by bacteria. Yes, that is true. O3, the ozone was, well, actually, all of oxygen originally was created by microbes that lived before our current tree of life. That basically, our tree of life killed the entire previous tree of life because they thrive. For them, oxygen was poison, basically. So we killed them. Even bugs is the best bug repellent you can treat in air outside. No bugs. 2 weeks. Okay, you guys can. What is an Egyptian pillow? Sounds cool. I know. You're in the wrong chat, friend. That's okay. They killed themselves. No, we definitely killed them. We're talking about like the first life that existed on the planet. They were wait, were they based on? I always forget this part. I think they were basically thriving on damn. I forget what it was. I mean, you can look it up in 2 seconds, but definitely everything that we thrive on, like everything we consider to be, the basis of how life operates now, was poison to them. So it killed basically 99.99% of all life on the planet because of that. And then the rest just had to transform, basically. I think arsenic is what it was based on. I'm not sure. I think there's some remnants of these creatures still. They released carbon. Yeah, I don't remember the details. I think it was. Hold on. What was the name? Of the first major extinction that replaced early life forms? Into which oxygen is poison. Whoa. What happened here? Oh. Yeah, so basically, great oxidation event. It's called GOE, also known as the oxygen catastrophe. Is believed to have been Earth's first mass extinction, and it's thought to have been caused by oxygen poisoning anaerobic life because they were anaerobic. Earth between it happened between 2.46 to 2.426 billion years ago. That's like longer than last week. Who studies anything longer than last week? Are there sciences that do that? That's crazy. Yeah, it happened 2.7 billion years ago. Call the campaign of water. They cooked their own. They coked their own gases. Well, basically, that's what happened. They were coked up. Yeah. So it just tells you that extinction happens all the time. It's natural. We're the only one that can actually stop it. The first life form got coked out of their minds. That's what happened. Now that's a hell of an extinction. Let me tell you that. What's up, world teacher? You came right on time. Talking about a whole period of life forms on Earth getting coked out of their minds and disappearing. You came right on time for sure. Yeah, oxygen. Oxygen was the thing. The great oxidation event. So basically, it's funny because what's up, Kirsten? Kirsten is running a retreat at Joshua Tree right now. I'm jealous. And welcome to the chat. Talking about early life forms doing cocaine till they got extinct. I just said the absolute no saying word. I'm thinking we're probably gonna get flagged now for sure. You can't even make jokes, huh? That's crazy. Let's see how long it's gonna take them to flag me. And Manda loves cakes. I appreciate the likes. Let's see what for this. What's up, Mike? Just talking about all kinds of conspiracy stuff. This is actually not uncommon for this chat. These conversations, they can get a little wacky, but I'm all for it. Like, as long as Tortron Max already proved time and time again that he's here, he's showing up, and we just chatted, and he sounds like a really really good guy. So there's no problem. I do agree with you that it sounds to me like Tortron Max, no offense, but it sounds like you get carried away with assumptions there, because you're assuming that there's some kind of a one body that governs the entire production of water in the United States, and also that there's no competing ideas in that space. Things are never black and white like that. There's always competing forces that want different things. And if the market exists, which, by the way, in America, the consumer market is the biggest in the world, that's why marketing works here like crazy, then it would make no sense to not sell a product that will be really good for you and actually really good. And there's a lot of health awareness in America at this point. So to sell really good water, if it would not make any sense to not sell it, first of all. Second of all, again, I'm going to check out the documentary for sure, but just giving you my 5 cents just from listening what you're saying right now, or paying attention to what you're saying. And in addition to that, you also have the issue that you don't, if your contention is that there's some kind of a body that decides that they just want to hurt the people in the country that they live, yeah, that's a level that it doesn't make any sense, right? You're basically saying that it's just an entire body of people that are just complete psychopaths, which is not supported by any statistics, right? You have 1% of psychopaths that exist in every organization, and it is true that it will rise to the level of power easier because they would step over people, all that stuff, yada yada yada. That's true. That's why you have a lot of people like that in the government and in big corporations. However, ultimately, what matters, what speaks in America, is money. And if you can sell something, you'll have people selling it. And especially now that you're going to be more competitive if you're selling something that is demonstrably better, it doesn't make any sense. As to dumb us down or to hold us down, that whole spiel, which is a very common conspiracy belief. You want the working force to be able to function, right? And there's actually imagine what you're postulating here. You're postulating is somebody sitting in a room. It's easy to think about this in these terms that you're outlining it. from a perspective of just kind of like looking at it as an external force. They, like you say, they, right? They. Okay. But now take yourself to the specifics. You saying that somebody said in a board meeting and said, hey, what should we do? Here's what we should do. We should take all the good water and make sure that none of it gets to the American consumer. Why? Because we want to hurt the American consumer. We want to hurt them physically. We want to hurt them mentally. We want to hurt them. Like, think about it. Like, if you believe that that's a real meeting that takes place in a company that is simply operating around making money, then we have very different understanding of how things work. Well, again, I'll check the documentary, but when you're saying documented every single thing, you gotta be able to see the documents, not just somebody telling you the documents exist, right? Do you have the documents? No one is good on G. Everyone is so sensitive. Look into H3O2. It comes from the fruit. It doesn't need to be converted like water. Well, I'll definitely take a deeper dive into this because I am interested to learn. Conducive to thought. No one is good, only Jesus. It's a well-known, documented situation. If you can find anything else, I'll share it. Yeah, psychopaths, but they are gone now. Remember, March Man. That is funny. It's all documented. Okay. All right. Well, they don't say that. Yes, I really think that most people in most organizations are just people like you and I. In fact, I don't think so. I know so. Because that's just the logic of, because they would always be a representation of the slice of the population. And the same amount of people that you meet on the streets are the same people that go to work, I always say, in the government and in all of these, shadow organizations that people postulate. Do people sometimes in power conspire to do certain things that will benefit them financially? 100%. But if the motive that you're attributing to it is people literally just sitting for the sake of hurting somebody, they're going to go out of their way to do that. That's a level of evil that cannot possibly be instantiated in an organization that is has, in order to be as big as it is, and it has to be as big as it is because you're saying they have all this control, because they will not be flexible enough and their incentives will go against making money. Because if your only incentive is actually to hurt a population, there's a lot of easier ways, much easier ways to make money without thinking about that as the main motive. You will only think about the main motive to make money. And if something stands in the way of that motive, then the argument stands. Like if something stands in the way of you making money that will otherwise benefit society, that's actually a legitimate thought process of saying, okay, well, then the company has an incentive to not do that. But to go out of your way to do something that wasn't there before, to reframe something just to hurt a population, no, it doesn't make any sense. Who is bragging about it? Who is they? Be live again. Again, I'm always open to learn. I'm just telling you that the reasoning you're using doesn't work. It doesn't run through. Every day. Send me the documents. I would love to see them. Send them to lasersimulationx@gmail.com. lasersimulationx@gmail.com. I will definitely read them. Okay, then show the documents. When I show documents, will your reaction be to laugh again and shrug it off? No. If I read it I don't know what document will state, like an official document, let's do this to hurt the population. First of all, why would you put it in a document, right? There's no good water. AI is the same difference. Just in front of this. Just from. They don't hide it and brag about it. Okay. Are you familiar with Wetico? No, let me look it up. Wetico. What is that? Healing the mind virus. The plane. Wetico in a nutshell. Let's see. Astrology. Oh, I'm gonna have to read this. Psychospiritual disease of the souls currently being acted out. Okay, I get the picture. Why are you mentioning it? The infamous day. The infamous day. I mean, the composition of the Phreatic rock. I don't underestimate. Wait, don't underestimate Masonic rouge of the ages to call cycles of apex speciations. The guys who got rated. What's up, Gak? That is some handle. You're obviously in denial. Oh, things are getting personal. But I was getting That's really funny. But it goes a sort of spiritual virus that we carry in our own shadow. The world teacher. Okay, so here's the. We always go back to this kind of like general point of this operation of shadow versus light, right? Even from the highest point of operation of reality itself, you have to have these two forces. They're not even competing. They're basically pressing against each other to make anything happen, right? So the shadow, whatever it is, it's not a thing that you neither can nor want to ever eradicate because it's part of who you are. It's not like you have a shadow and your job is to get rid of it. By getting rid of it, you will offset the scale in a way that will make the whole system collapse, basically. So it's impossible. Reality is not built this way. And because we are expression of reality, no matter what you believe about the world, it can be Jesus Christ, it can be what the Buddha said, it can be just science, whatever it is, there's always balance that is happening. And the reason we know that is because reality exists. If there will be no balance to some extent in the core of reality, it wouldn't be able to exist, right? There will be so much uneven ground that eventually everything will slide off existence, so to speak. So if we believe, and I think most people here in the chat, no matter what their belief, believe that we are some expression of the collective total, some fractal of it. Again, it doesn't matter if you have a religious point of view or spiritual point of view or scientific point of view, it doesn't matter. If we believe that this balance exists in all of us, then all the internal battles that we exhibit, they exist in nature itself. This is why by blaming somebody for certain kinds of actions and attributing evil attributes to them, the only thing it does, it sidetracks us from actually noticing these things in ourselves, which is the only place where we can actually influence that. So the only thing we can truly do is work on our own imbalances and bring ourselves to balance. And part of it is recognizing, I guess what people would call in some circles shadow work, recognizing that sometimes we can be a piece of work, all of us, right? To different degrees. Not recognizing this little fact will actually make anybody make them more focused on that element, that shadow in others. And when you do that, you actually eliminate all the power from yourself, because just by, again, talking about some kind of a thing out there that is the problem, and I can remedy it by producing this either product or some kind of a function, it's missing the point. The point is that we always have to look into ourselves and to see what we can actually balance in ourselves that will then, that's already depending on if you see the world this way, but I definitely see the world this way at this point. The world will reflect back to you in the external world, the state that you occupy. So the irony is that and this is to you directly, Tetron Max, I don't want to pretend like I'm, at least in this particular chat, I am saying this to you, but this general point stands, and we can talk about it more in detail when we actually chat. But the point is this. The irony here is because the reality that you see around you is a reflection of who you are. The more you postulate all these shadowy organizations, they will be reflected in your reality. They will be reflected in your world more and more and more. And actually, not by ignoring them, but just by focusing on all the attributes that you seem to want to combat in these external forces, look inside and find them in yourself, because they're there, I promise you. And the second you can, and see how they express themselves in your own life, if you can align them back into a position where they're integrated into your being, you will notice that you will simply cease to care about this stuff, because it's no longer a thing that is happening in your reality. Not because it doesn't actually exist, but because the level of interaction you're going to have with the world will not reflect that back to you anymore. I don't know if this makes any sense, but that would be my position to hold. And this is why I always say it's really funny that the people that always talk about how we create our own reality are the same people that keep talking about the shadowy organization out there, big pharma, with pick the name, right? So there's always like this one thing we don't trust, and at the same time people say we create our own reality. Okay, well then you're actually creating that then. Let's see. As a hidden let me go back a little bit. The Freemasons, the boys club. Jesus came to bring light to the darkness. Shadow is as in hidden, not as in bad evil. I see. Thank you for the clarification, Patricia. And yeah, that was my point to you also, Tetron Max, that the whole, well, one of the skewed points that I see in the story of Jesus Christ versus the real whatever is happening is that the shadow has to be integrated. It is not to be eradicated because it's not a thing you can eradicate. It's like saying, can you eradicate half of reality? The yin and the yang shows you that it's always a balance between these two. Thank you so much, Danny, for not getting swept away by crazy theories. Stick to facts you can verify. Yeah. Josh also said not to throw stones. Facts are facts. Feelings mean nothing. Actually, I'm not so sure about that anymore. Go take the red pill. Guys, can we cool it? We gotta have a more civil discussion at least here, please. For sure, we're all in a piece of work. Exactly. As exhibited by this chat right now. Model cakes, I already did 15 years ago. Now we're serving them to millions daily. Humans had the philosophy since the beginning. Red pill goes the truth. Okay. Doing it in a detox. As above, so below. Fighting demons, summon demons. Patrician Black, love that. Wrong above is nothing like below. Ah, okay. Well, then I think we found the main disagreement, Toytron Max. You saying that above is nothing like below. I would say that that's not a possibility. Because whatever is occurring throughout all of it. That's actually the irony of reality, so to speak. But in that regard, we didn't evolve in the direction our thoughts wanted to. They wait. Then why can't I breathe in space underwater? I feel ripped off. Wait, what? What are you saying? This to what effect are you saying this med killing? I mean, you. Not for very long. Truth or dare? Giovanni is asking. Giovanni Falcone. Eh? Truth or dare? So you need to stop trying to downplay the truth. Yes, you can eradicate it. That's the mission, a very successful one. I see the truth in my children every day. The internet is entertaining, but it isn't. I would agree with that exactly. Above light. Above equals light, below equals darkness. But they're one and the same. They're essentially connected. The top is one object, all exits, and not the same time. But this is, by the way, I think this actually highlights the biggest difference between what we were talking about the other day, which is the difference between the Western thinking and the Eastern thinking, or things that are more influenced by Eastern thinking, which is that you either have a belief that there's good and evil and good has to win, or you understand that there's a balance to things in the universe, and it's when there's lack of balance, lack of acceptance of certain facts about self and about the world, is when you actually have the worst problems. In every single time, even in recent history, when you had things going terribly wrong, is when one people or one leader that then convinced one peoples to entertain the notion that they have the truth, they are in the good camp, and somebody else says the falsity and they're in the bad camp, without stopping and understanding that even though it is true that some humans, it's not that it's all equal. Sometimes, some people are more wrong than others and they have to be corrected in some different ways, but not taking into account that whatever is operating in them there's an expression of that in you, is the thing that actually eventually leads to either an eradication of a whole population of people, or even in your own people, like what happened in the Soviet Union, which essentially you had this idea that we're just gonna make everything even because power is evil, and then you had a system that leveled the playing field to an extent that all the most brilliant minds, all the people that knew how to operate things and make money, were denigrated to or killed, and then you had no progress anymore. So whenever you have a utopian idea, which, by the way, the idea of the way that Christianity, at least in the modern world, goes about it, is basically a utopian idea. It is the mother of all utopian ideas. It's simplistic. It doesn't reflect what reality is doing. And the point that is trying to be sold is, well, no. This is different because we're talking about the afterlife. Well, as above, so below. Whatever is there has to be expressed in some way here. Otherwise, you wouldn't have hints that things are operating in a certain way. And this is the main difference between the Eastern and Western thinking, that in the Eastern thinking, you don't have this issue because nobody is asking you to believe anything. You have to practice certain things to witness certain things for yourself. And you can only be convinced of something and know something to be true when you're experiencing it directly. That is the only way to do that. Exactly. Yes, two very different worldviews. Whoa. How do I? Oh, just keep sending invite. Well, you're welcome to come to Talia. I don't know why it does that. Sometimes I'm scrolling and then it sends an invite. Again, you're more than welcome to come on, but I wonder why it does that. Is that a quote? It's lovely. Either you hate the truth or you love it. That thought didn't born in Russia. No, I gave Russia as an example. Soviet Union, you mean? Russia is what it's now. But yeah, the thought. Well, Marxism is the original idea, right? But the Soviet Union is where you saw it emerging in the most demonstrable way. But emotions have no place. I don't know. I just said it, but I read a lot. I grew up. Wait, I grew up the child of a minister, probably as a child of a minister, and I could never bring myself to believe. You think good and evil is subjective. What good for one isn't good for another type deal. And evil can be good depending on who's experiencing it. So I tell you what I think. Good and evil are not subjective. They're absolutely objective forces in the universe. It's just that what we mean by good and evil, we have perceptions of them that on the universal scale, they're very childish. We don't really have a good discernment yet. We don't really understand what good and evil really means. I found a way to define it partially, which is that the black side, the evil side, is the short circuits, the things that are concerned with more immediate things. And the good things, they're the longer arcs. Now, in terrestrial terms, we think of good and evil as like, well, you have to be good and you shouldn't be evil, right? Because evil people, they only care about themselves, they don't care about anyone else. So these are just the ways in which it expresses itself in humans. So we think of it in very simplistic terms. White, good, you should be that, the part of the yin and the yang, right? The black side of the yin and yang is it should be a part of that. It's evil. Well, that's not how it's perceived in any tradition that has that the yin and the yang as a symbol, but that's how we think about it in the West. But in reality, you have to have both to have a balanced situation, because all the short circuits are the ones that are concerned with immediate structure. If you don't have any of that, you just have an open system that does nothing. You have nothing. You have something from the alpha to the omega, and then there's nothing in the middle. Nothing happens, which is fine, but nothing happens, right? But if you have too much of this short circuit thing, then you have rigidity. Something is just this, and that's it. And then it also cannot move. So you have two extremes, right? The world is not none of these extremes. It's a balance between the two. You have the the systems that have the energy, the longer arcs energy, that is constantly trying to keep things open-ended and tries to open the ends of things that are already closed. So it's renewal, right? Renewal is the process by which the good is on the surface looks like it's destroying it, but it's actually opening these circuits again so it can form into something new. But in order for it to form into something new, you need the black, you need the shadow, you need the things that are trying to close again, the short circuits, right? And only the balance between these two, which you can also look as feminine and masculine, you can look at it in a lot of different ways. They're the ones that are actually operating all of reality. That's how I see it. So good and evil are completely objective. It's just that what we mean by them, we have a subjective experience of these things. And then a lot of times we confuse them. And I always say, notice that even in the symbol, the perfect circle that is black is in the core of the white, and vice versa, which to me means that ultimate good is contained in the center of evil, and the ultimate evil is contained in the center of good, and they contain the seed of each other essentially. So it's a very deep symbolism actually. Let's see. And evil can be good depending on. Oh, we read this. Isn't strange that it didn't produce acceptance. There's that society. The live is frozen for me. I'll catch up. Okay, thank you. Ting Yang West adopted from East. Cool. Let's see. Wait, what's happening here? The yin yang symbol is so brilliant. I agree. My name says it all. Oxymoron. That's funny. Thank you, Oxymoron. What's up, Jen? Yeah. So Tretron Max is gone, but I think the points stand. Anyway, this is not uncommon for this chat. It happens quite often. And I do notice that people, I don't even mind if people have, even points of view that some might think extreme. It's just as long as there's some openness for dialogue and discussion, because otherwise the idea that somebody in any point in history of the universe reached the final conclusion and they have all the answers, I mean, just imagine how absurd that is. Yeah, you were. Hey, we can't help ourselves, right? Mother loves cakes. Oh, thank God. Sometimes it just freezes. Evil hiding as good and good surrounded by bad if you are pessimistic. Again, I don't think that they're what we think of as good and bad. They are necessary forces in the universe that are constantly in flux with each other. So they're both required. They're both in balance. What's up, old Harry? Kristen, thank you for the likes, guys. Oh, 1 second. We went back. Give me 1 second. All right. What did I miss? What's up, Kristen? Kristen? My bad, new here. I see the dots to be peaking, though. Oh, I think I missed something. Let's see. I died, I came back, and I have answers, but I can't describe them. Well, that's helpful. Expansion and contraction. I did that once. I also don't understand the dots thing. What dots thing? Anybody can tell me what dots we're talking about? Is the chat frozen or something? Oh, the yin yang dots. Got it. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what it represents to me. And then you can think of the ultimate good as God, because it's the ultimate arc from the beginning to the end that is completely self contained. And you can think of the other side as the ultimate full closed circle that only tends for itself and nothing else. Lone Allen. Yeah. Well, that's for all the discussion from water to religious elements. Like I said, we started this chat by mentioning the fact that Elon Musk right now has Donald Trump on some kind of a live discussion. And I have somebody I know who's also on the other chat. I think she's still. Are you still on the chat, Lisa? Who's saying that today we have a big closing of some kind of gates. So everybody focus on positive energies, so we end up on the right earth. What now, Elon and Trump? No, we don't. We don't. I actually have nothing to say because I don't know what they're saying. Yeah, right now I think they're. Let's see. Let's see if this is a thing still. Yeah, Donald Trump. Let's see. I'm gonna turn the volume on. Oh, there's some kind of a. I don't even know what. I don't even know what that is, but I don't even know where. But it's supposed to be today. Yeah. This is Elon is bringing Trump to chat about some things. I mean, if nothing else, man. I mean, it's so clear that even what's expressed in the American politics is so obvious that some major changes are coming next year. We'll see how they. We'll see how they. How the whole thing unfolds. Not very political, but I'm less liberal than I was a few years ago. Yeah, I'm the same way. I feel I thought originally that it's a thing. It's because of age. Like when you start getting older, you kind of start seeing that there's, you know, all the liberal ideas are beautiful, but you still have to think about how to implement them more realistically, and that's usually the more conservative position. But now I'm not so sure that it's just because I'm getting older. I feel like truly the political system kind of lost its mind a little bit and everybody became more radical. So even though I was a liberal my whole life, same story. Like I feel like, you know, well, you know, this is not a new point and not an interesting point even, but the left did become pretty radical in many ways and started using all the tactics that we used to blame the right for, which is lying and manipulating the media and all that stuff. And I mean, it's crazy. So I'm finding myself less and less aligned with that, but I'm also definitely not aligned with all the craziness coming from the right. So Alex Boehner, who I interviewed for my podcast, he once said that he feels that he's politically uh, is a political orphan or something like that, and I feel the same way. I don't feel like I really have a home politically. Oh, politically homeless, maybe he said something like that. But I think it's true. Like I don't think these things really move anything at this point, or at least people just lost their minds basically. And I think you're right, Patricia. Just basically no common sense. I'm interested to see how the Chevron thing pans out. What Chevron thing? See, I don't even know what's going on there. I exist in my 3D VR real meat suit machine, yet I stay in 2D vicarious museland. It's beautiful. Thank you, Oxymoron. Did liberal get too liberal? No, they became illiberal, basically. Liberal is supposed to essentially mean live and let live, right? And you have, again, like I say, like you have people, Greta is a great representation of this, which is like, it's basically tyrannical. It's easier to see when you are sitting on the fence. That is true. Orphan, yes. They got the moderate. They got too moderate. Too moderate. The opposite of liberal. Yep. How do I know it's real? How do you know what is real? The Supreme Court ruled Chevron unconstitutional. You mean like the oil company? Someone in TikTok asking about Chevron case in regards to Ecuador. Somebody mentioned Chevron, yes, MEF. Why? Oh, RFK. I don't know what to think. He seems like the only sane person left, but then again, I did hear that he was also involved in quite a bit of lying on certain important topics. So I don't know what to think anymore. At this point, I'm just like I can't entertain all of it. The only person that I can truly say that I was kind of entertaining of even voting for was what's his face? Um, come on. Whoa, why am I spacing on his name? Vivek, Jesus. Yeah, Vivek was the only person who I was truly impressed by, as far as a person who just thinks clearly about subjects. And I was like, wait, am I going to vote Republican? Can't believe it. And then it dropped out, which I guess was expected. Vivek, no, he's conservative, but he dropped out. But he's the only person. Again, I don't even necessarily share, all of his values, but that's, I mean, that's the president you want. You want somebody who, especially even if you don't disagree, it seems like to be disagreeing with you on certain subjects, you still feel in good hands. You still feel that somebody truly competent, very smart, has a lot of experience with running enormous organizations, was involved in innovation, has standards that he abides by, and stepped down from a very lucrative position because he didn't agree and stood his ground on certain values, way before he ever thought he's going to run for any office, right? I mean, what else do you want in a president? It was almost like the America you always dreamed about kind of guy, right? And especially because his parents are immigrants, and it's like, whoa, like somebody rose to that level, right? I mean, it's everything you want in a president. So I thought I'm going to vote Vivek. And what was amazing to me about him is that even when he would go on, easily go into, conversations on liberal talk shows and podcasts, and he would still make sense and even convince um, people who are on the left about certain topics. I mean, what else? And you could see that he was speaking out of a real place, and his values are in place. So RFK, I don't know what to think of him. He doesn't quite strike me as competent and as truthful, to be honest. But I'll be honest, I don't know enough. At a certain point, I got tired of trying to figure this out. So I'm not blaming anybody else for holding the same position. Chevron is about enforcing federal regulation that isn't law. I see. The promising ones rarely get far. Well, no, he was placing far third, but still third, which was insane. And that fact alone gave me hope, because that means that a lot of people in America, that's still a lot of people, were ready for something else. So even if not in this round, something tells me in the next round we're going to have a much better representation, which gives me a lot of hope. And by the way, if, for example, if RFK and Vivek would be running against each other, I feel like that would be ideal, because at least, no matter the fact that I said that I don't know enough about RFK and he doesn't strike me quite as honest and as competent, still, these are two people that clearly, just as far as a vibe of a person, are much more prone to like have a conversation, have a normal disagreement about something, and can still meet in the middle. We have some comments about Chevron on YouTube. Chevron did major ecological damage in Ecuador and didn't follow up with its legal requirements for remediation. Lots of life suffered and continued to do so. The lawyer in the U.S. that fought for Ecuadorian was treated horrifically. Can't remember his name, Steven something. Thank you for the clarification. Yeah, I'm very far from all of these things, so I'm learning a lot today. I didn't really know any of this. All the rules of three-letter agencies, DMV, EPA, the Wildlife Commissions, ATF, DEA, Harris. No, this case was about rules, drivers, licenses, fishing licenses, EPA requirements. Oh man, you took me far afield. All right, well, we'll go a little bit longer. Let's see if we have any. Wait, Chevron is what? It's a what is it referring to? What is Chevron? Hold on, let me see. Let me just look. The Chevron case. Is it related to Chevron, the company, the corporation? Okay, I'll look it up later. Can't really. So what does that mean? Smoking prior. Supreme Court this week, Chevron ruling. I understand, but what is Chevron? Like, what is that? What does it stand for? What is that? Supreme Court, wait, closest statutes by all the governmental agencies. Got it. Okay. If we have not voted on them, they're not laws. Yeah, if they were not passed as laws. Wow, it's funny. I used to have I still have a family friend whose uncle was a political science, like a brilliant political science professor, and every celebration of any kind, we would always go to their place to have dinner, like Christmas or Thanksgiving and all that good stuff. And we would always have all these lively conversations. And what's interesting, and he was a kind of like, well, I guess it's not that surprising, but it was, surprising from a liberal point of view, that he was both a Muslim and a conservative and a political science professor in a liberal university. It was UCLA and Pierce College. And they're like really close family friends. And we would have all these conversations, and I was obviously like a devout liberal, but I would still learn a lot from him, because he was completely unbiased when it came to the breaking down all of these things, because he's a professor, so he kind of feels the obligation to explain the real inner workings of how everything works and why it happens. And I learned so much from him, but he passed away a year and a half ago. which was very sad because he was an incredible man. And ever since then, I don't really know. All of a sudden, I realized I know so little, but I could probably have like a much better conversation about politics when he was still alive, because we would always have these lively discussions about this stuff. What's up, Mac? Plaintiff. If we have not voted. All right. Well, I feel like kind of like today's topics are done. I promised that this week I'll probably bring you a couple of fun guests. We're going to make the discussion a lot more lively and fun, and probably funny as well. And I'm working on bringing Melvin Bobson as well to see if we can have some insights about the simulation hypothesis from a physics standpoint. And that's it. I think we'll adjourn for today. I appreciate everybody. Thank you always for being here. And we'll see everybody tomorrow. Officially our 30th. The end. Peace and love, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Patricia, Matt, killing it, everybody. Cal. Amanda loves cakes. Peace. And MEF. Thank you so much. Steven Dozinger, lots of YouTube videos if you search his name. Ecuador. Oh, thank you. Buenas noches. Let me copy this one. Wait. I'm going to copy all of this. Thank you so much, MEF. I appreciate you. And whomever else is here. I think you're the only one here. Wow. I appreciate your determination. Have a good night.